What's up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Life After Lockup. I think this is like still season 5, episode like 42, but then I've also seen people or like online say that it's season 9, episode 1. I'm so confused. I genuinely hate how they number their episodes. It makes no sense to me, bro. Like, no sense. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how committed I'm going to be to reviewing this. It's so much going on. Real Housewives of Potomac is about to come on today, on Sunday. So I'm just like, can I keep up? I'm already reviewing Real Housewives of like Salt Lake City. You got OC. Now I'm gonna be doing Real Housewives of Potomac, and then this. That's a lot. That's a lot. But I'm going to see if I can make it work. But y'all don't care. So let's get into this review. Let's get Bianca out the way because she annoys me. She annoys me. I don't know why I expected her to be slightly different. And maybe I was just basing it off of like Kim and Joey and Zahira, I think it's Zahira, or however you say her name, Z and Troy. Because Z and Troy, it's like it's been a month since he's been released. Or, Joey, it's been 2 months since he's been released. I was just expecting like her, like I guess I was expecting too much, that Bianca would be a slightly elevated, like she would have evolved. But it's only been 3 hours since Daniel has been out of prison, so it ends like we open up this season where Love After Lockup left off, where Bianca and Daniel were having dinner with Daniel's family. So now they're officially leaving the restaurant and going on their way back to Bianca's apartment. Now, Bianca's 23 years old. She's unemployed, but the way that she gets money is through a settlement. She got into like a really bad car accident. She says that she didn't know her friend was drunk. I don't know if I believe that, because last season let us know that Bianca seems like she got a drinking problem, okay? And she need to be in she need to be in therapy or an outpatient process. But she got into an accident. She got a laceration to her neck, which impacted her vocal cords. So she wasn't able to speak for a few months. And instead of her worrying about like recovery and getting back to normal, she was on the internet searching for people who had been convicted for DUIs. And that's how her and Daniel got together. Daniel's 31 years old and he's unemployed. He went to jail for a DUI and third-degree burglary. He got such a harsh sentence because when he did the burglaries, or the burglarizing, I guess that's the word, he was breaking into parked cars, and he was doing this while he was on parole. So I think he went to jail for at least like 5 or 6 years, or maybe 4 to 5 years. But he's excited to be out. He's excited to be in the free world. And, he's like, while they're in the car, he's admiring the houses and the sky and saying how beautiful it is. Bianca is just looking at him like, what? And I'm like, girl, when you can't leave or go anywhere and all you're used to is like the same 4 walls, a house, the blue sky, like fresh air will be beautiful to you because it's no longer like restricted from you. And Bianca's annoying because it's just like, you can tell that she is naive and that she is ignorant, but it feels like she's that way on purpose. Like she hasn't tried to do anything to like brighten her horizons, because at the age of 23, most 23-year-olds are just now like either graduating for college and are about to go into like a master's program, or they're about to enter the workforce, but they have some type of like maturity on them. When Bianca just seems like she's still like an 18-year-old and just very stunted, and it's weird. It's weird. So she gets him to the apartment. He's like, oh, this is actually really nice. They start making out on the couch. She's kind of nervous because she's just like, I don't know what really to expect, but I hope it's good. We find out that Daniel sent like a tracing of his penis to her, and she sent him nudes. I still don't get how she was able to send him nudes when we've seen people on this show like lose those types of privileges if the pictures that they send show too much cleavage or too much skin. So how you sending nudes to a jail? I don't know how she figured it out, but she figured it out, okay? So they start making out on the bed. Like, they leave the couch and go to the bed. I'm grossed out because I'm like, he hasn't taken a shower. Like, he still has on the same prison clothes. Okay, I don't know if the soap and the toothpaste in prison is of the same quality that it is out here in the free world. Either way, I brush them teeth, wash your body. You would have to be in the shower for at least a good like 2 hours. Just run it over you. Get that, because I heard prison and jail got a smell. So get it off of you. And honestly, I feel like if I was in prison, I would just want to be able to take a shower for as long as I wanted to. And that's because I like showers. So I would just want to be able to just stand in the shower and just feel the water just like rush over my body. You know what I mean? Just rush over my body. So they make out, they kick production out because we know what they doing. So it's the next morning, and Daniel is in his confessional talking about how blissful it was. They morphed into each other. You know, they cuddled. They really felt one another. Bianca's like, it's all right. She was like, it's nothing for me to call my friends about. She was like, I got to give him grace because, you know, he's been in prison. So, like, what am I supposed to expect? So we see them in the kitchen. Daniel starts making breakfast. He's making like eggs and bacon. And while they're in there, she kind of is like annoyed at the fact that like Daniel's like, well, I have to go to the parole, like my PO, and check things out to make sure I can parole here. But there is a possibility that they won't allow me to. And Bianca's like, that's not fair. And I'm like, it may not be fair, but that's reality. It's like Bianca wants to live in such a delusional, like we're above the rules type of vibe that it's just like, no one told you to leave Florida, the only place that you have ever lived, and pack up and go all the way to the other side of the country and live in Arizona where you don't have friends, you don't have family, and you're banking on this man being able to stay with you because you're comfortable with having him there, but there's not a guarantee he's going to be able to stay there. Like, you should have thought of that before you left. If Bianca has the money that she says she has, and which we know she has because it was able to afford her to move to Florida, I don't understand what would have been, why she couldn't just get an Airbnb for like 2 months and figured it out. And just, you know, met Daniel at the parole house, saw what it was about, see if y'all could really like vibe off of each other. And then if the vibes were good, then pick your life up and then move to Arizona. But just moving to Arizona and you don't really have a commitment from him, and you also don't have like anything else out there, to me was gullible and was like such a stupid and rash decision. So he's like, that's a possibility. We see them kind of argue in the confessional because Daniel is like, you know, I want to, you know, get a job and really start contributing and start really like taking care of Bianca and doing all these things for her. And Bianca's like, yeah, you should, you better. And he was like, he looked at her like, why would you say that? And she's like, well, no, I'm just saying, yeah, you better contribute. He was like, I just said that's what I want to do. Why do you need to say that? So that just was starting to show that Bianca got a nasty attitude. Like, she's very bratty, like very bratty. So Daniel, like I said, was cooking breakfast. He finishes up making food and they're sitting at the counter eating breakfast. And then Bianca's like, oh, is the coffee ready? And Daniel's looking at the thing and he's like, yeah, the pot is done. And she's like, can you get me up and make me some coffee and put some milk in it? And Daniel's like, nah, I'm good sitting right here. And she's like, babe, you really can't get up and make me some coffee? He's like, it's right there. And their kitchen isn't that, like, Bianca was the closest one to the coffee, but she just wanted him to do it. And he was like, no, it's like, you could do it. She was like, really, after all I've done for you? And I said, ooh, not you throwing that in his face. And so I was waiting on Daniel's response. And his response actually surprised me because he checked Bianca, because he was just like, why would you say that to me? Because he was like, why did you do that stuff for me? Like, did I ask you to do that? Or like, did you do it because? And she was like, oh, because I love you. He was like, yeah, don't ever throw that in my face again. Don't do that. And I said, that's how you check her. Because that was disrespectful. You that mad because he won't get up and make you some coffee. So she's in the confessional talking about like, I've done so much for him and he's being really selfish because he won't get me some coffee. And I'm looking at her like, girl, my thing is I think Bianca is in for a rude awakening with Daniel, because Daniel be checking Bianca. Like, he checked her in the confessional and he checked her at that at the breakfast table. Like, I think Daniel is going to be telling Bianca about herself, and she's not going to like it, because I think she expects Daniel to just do whatever she wants because she's given up so much or done so much for him. And Daniel's like, you're not about to hold that over my head. And I said, ooh, girl. So let's talk about Kim and Joey. So Kim is 38 years old and a teacher's aide. Joey is 39 years old and he's still unemployed. He went to jail, I think it was for grand larceny. Let me see. It was breaking and entering, larceny, and identity theft. So it's only been 2 months since Joey has been out of prison. We see Kim, and it looks like she's at her father's house, like in his garage, and he has like stuff from the kids. So she's kind of been using his house as like storage and stuff. And so we also see Joey's mom, and they're there trying to pull everything together so they can have like this big yard sale. Kim is like, I want to have this yard sale. We need some more money coming in, especially with us trying to like get a house. I'm like, first of all, why are we trying to get a house? You keep complaining. Like, all you complained about last season of Love after Lockup was you only make $15 an hour. Joey just be spending and spending and spending because he doesn't really have a true concept of money, but he knows you his sugar mama. And now you're thinking about getting an actual home for you and your kids because your boys need it. And like your mortgage payment is going to be like $1,500 a month, and you don't have it. So Kim is like, my plan is just to work and work. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. That does not. I will never understand when people purchase like homes or like townhouses or get apartments where they know they cannot afford it, where they can probably live up to maybe 4 or 5 months in that place comfortably, and then after that it goes down the tube. I don't understand. That's the type of stress I don't want. I'd rather stay and live within my means, so things that I really want I can afford and not feel bad about it, or not feel like I'm putting myself in a bind. So Kim doesn't make sense to me. So she lets Joey's mom know that she be tracking Joey, pulls out her phone and everything. I said, girl, that was stupid, because you never let like the parent of the person that you're dating know what you're doing. Because as much as that lady might seem to be loyal to you, Kim, she gonna be loyal to that son of hers. So you were dumb for that, because I don't think Joey knows, or maybe he does know that she's tracking him. I don't know how they filmed this, but it seems like maybe he knows. I don't know. If he do know, then he might have like took the chip out. I don't know. But Kim's like, she got trust issues based off of her previous marriage, because she said her husband had an affair. So that's when she had an affair with Joey. But I don't believe Kim's story either. The same way I feel like Bianca not telling the full truth, I don't think Kim is either. I feel like Kim be out in these streets, and like she be in these streets just like Joey be in these streets, pretty much. Because when we first get introduced to Kim, we find out that Kim cheated with Joey on her cousin. So Joey and Kim's cousin Tatum were dating. Joey cheated on Tatum with Kim. And the way that Kim kind of gleefully told Tatum about them being together, it was giving very much that like you were happy to like rub that in your cousin's face. Then we find out that in her first marriage, she got a divorce, but quickly after that, like I think like a few months after that, she got remarried again and she was pregnant. But while she was pregnant, like while she like was in this marriage, she was also messing with Joey, because she found out that her husband was having an affair. And so she had an affair with Joey, but then Joey got locked up in 2018, and here we are. I said, girl, that's messy. That's it. I don't know. Cause it's really giving that Kim and her husband were cheating on each other. And Kim just give floozy. I'm sorry, Kim be giving floozy, bro. I don't know. So we get this scene where Joey's doing daddy daycare, dropping off the boys and everything. Joey talking about how he loves the boys and how he loves doing this. He was like, Kim works really hard and she does all this stuff, so he doesn't mind helping her out. While he's in the car, he was getting on my nerves, asking that little boy, the oldest, he's 5, like, do you think you look like me? Like, do you know our hair looks the same? I'm like, do not put thoughts into that child's head, because what if it does come out that you are not the father and that is his dad? You're gonna have him questioning things like that was not Joey's place. So I was irritated with him constantly asking the little boy, don't you think you look like me? Don't you think you look like me? And I'm just like, stop it. And so Joey is just like, I feel like I deserve to know and he deserves to know. We kind of look the same. And because that's when Joey lets us know that right around the time that Kim got pregnant, he went to jail and she stayed married to her husband. So Kim is like, she don't know if Joey is there could be a possibility that Joey is the father of her oldest child. And she was just like, my ex doesn't know. I don't know. Mind you, that's not even really her ex-husband because she's still legally married to the man. So here we go with that. Okay, here we go with that. So we then get this scene of Joey in bed with Kim where he's like, I want to know. And I think you should want to know too. And Kim is like, ignorance is bliss, bro. Like, just leave it at that. And he's like, no, I think we should do it. So Joey actually got like a home DNA test. And so he's swabbing his mouth. They get the little boy, they're swabbing his. And then we actually see them all pile into the car to go drop it off at the lab. And Kim and Joey are in the car. He was like, you don't think this is a good idea? And Kim is like, no, this was gonna be like a great family secret. Like we don't know what the outcome's gonna be. And Joey's like, I want to know if he could be my son. So we see them drop this stuff off, and I'm just like, it don't feel right. Because I'd rather my dad be a cheater than a drug addict who's been in prison most of his life. And who likes to steal. Like, give me my cheating daddy versus my drug addict. I like to who possibly robbed my granddaddy and stole his dirt bike daddy. Too much. Let's talk about Zeruiah and Troy. So Zeruiah's 32 years old and an executive director. Troy is 29 years old. I think Troy went to jail for possession of a weapon and attempted robbery, but he's also labeled as director of community, I think engagement or outreach for the company that Zeruiah and Troy have together. When it opens up, you got them all Zeruiah bitching at Troy, just going off on him low key because he moved her bras to a bin in the closet. And he's like, well, no, I just moved them there so we could see how much stuff we got. And she was like, Troy, I need my bras, Troy. I need my bras. And so she giving him all this lip. But before we get into it, let's give a round of applause that she got her hair together. She decided braids was the way to go because, girl, that Pomeranian ponytail at the top of your head was not cute, nor was it. So they seem to be in a better place. It's been, I think, at least a month since Troy has been out of prison. So they're okay-ish, but you can tell they're it's not that, because Troy and her in the confessionals, and Troy is like, you take forever in the bath. No, Zeruiah is like, you take forever in the bathroom. And Troy's like, yeah, and you don't. And she was like, I'm supposed to. And my thing about it is they need more space. Now, if anybody needs to buy a house, it would be Zeruiah and Troy, or at least move into a bigger townhome, because you have you have Zeruiah's sister and you have her son in there, and then their bedroom looks so confined and tight. So she's just like, it's a lie. He was like, I'm trying to reorganize. So then she gets an attitude. Also, her skin looks better. She got her skin together. She gets an attitude where she's just like, I don't like how you say I don't have a place for you. And Troy's like, it's not that I don't think you have a place for me. I'm just saying that we need more space. So then Troy's in his own confessional where he's just like, when there's other people here, he was like, this house would be big enough if it was just the two of us, but it's not. We have, our son and, her sister. It's just a lot going on. So we see the sister Zion. She's in the kitchen eating some yogurt, and she even was like, when y'all argue, I'm always worried that's gonna get up here. And she's like, I get worried. And she was like, Zeruiah's like, my bad, I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. You've been living here before Troy, and you could keep staying here. You have been here and been my rock since he's been locked up and everything. So then Troy is just kind of like, he apologizes to Zeruiah where he's like, I woke up late. I'm just trying to get myself together. I'm just nervous because he's finally going to meet his team for work. So then we see a confessional of the sister where she was like, I be feeling bad for Troy. She really be yelling at him. And sometimes he just has his head down. And I'm like, bro, are you all right? she and the sister's like, I don't know if they're gonna make it, but she was like, this is different. This isn't like girlfriend, boyfriend. Like, y'all got married. So it's like, you kind of have to put a little bit more effort into it. So it's like, if your family clocks that you be talking to that man at like disrespectfully and she feels bad, because to me it says a lot when your sister feels bad for like your significant other and they don't readily take your side, because one, your sister could be a pick me and male centered, but your sister could also be objective and realize that, yeah, you be doing too much to him, and that's a lot for one man to take on. So she's just like, yeah, I be feeling bad for him. We do see the son this time. He has his own room, and she was talking to him about, be good at school and all of this stuff. So we find out that Zeruiah and Troy have this nonprofit organization. I can't remember the name of it, but basically it's supposed to be like mental health, where they provide mental health to those who are like newly released out of prison and out of jail. And I was just like, you being the like face for that? I don't know. Not after the display we saw of you from Life After Lockup. No, it's Love After Lockup. You showed your ass. So I don't know. I don't know. So we actually get to go to the office. It looks like it's rented office space. And we end up meeting Dr. Anita. I think that's how you say it, Anita. She is she's one of the clinical supervisors, and we meet Ashley, who is a mental health counselor. And, they were very welcoming to him. The doctor, she asks, like, so what'd you go to jail for? And he says, robbery and like have it being in possession of a weapon. So then Zeruiah is like, oh, let me show you around the office. Mind you, at first I thought it was their actual office, but then the way that she just walked him to like a cubicle with nothing on the walls, I was like, oh, this is office space. Like, people rent rooms and you are able to like host meetings there. I said, okay, because I was like, this is not giving y'all can afford this, nor do I believe this is your office. So he's like, yeah, it's kind of like having a sale, and like he daps her up, and she was like, baby, this is not a sale. He was like, well, my sale was the nicest sale on the block. So while they're talking, you see the counselor Ashley and Dr. Anita talking, where Ashley is like, I just met him. She was like, I don't know if we're giving him too much responsibility or like what type of work ethic he's about to put in. Like, this might be a lot for him. And she's just like, I'm not sure about this. And Dr. Anita even made the face like, yeah, girl, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So they sit down, and Zeruiah is telling Troy what he's supposed to be doing, which is like community outreach. And this is supposed to be like a nonprofit organization. So the way that they pay people is through grants that they petition for to like the government and like other like, facilities that like, because you can also get like private grants and stuff like that. So I think Troy is supposed to be able to like go and speak to the community, but I'm also like, how is that his job when he got an ankle monitor? What community he going to? He can't go but so far. The next scene we see of them, they're laying in bed. She got on this face mask, which I can't hate because like her skin looks way better. So hopefully, I guess that's really like doing something for her. But she got on the face mask, like with these big eyelashes on, and then she has on like the I think that's for like puffy eyes. I forgot, like it's like the little eye patches and stuff like that. So they're laying in bed, and throughout the episode, Zeruiah was saying how she has something to tell Troy, and she doesn't know how she's going to be able to tell him. At first, I thought maybe that like her son's father like reached out or something like that, but it was something totally different. So they're laying in bed, and she's like, Troy, I have something to tell you. I don't really know how to tell you, but let's go. So she gives Troy her phone, and it's a text message. Mind you, I said, girl, who sent you this? Because it looked fake, but I'm going to go with it. But it basically said that, like, they had not paid the rent for May and June. And I thought, okay, are you saying you didn't pay the rent for your home? And she was like, no, they did not pay the rent for the office building that they were working out of. So they won't be able to go back there for a while until they pay it. So then I was like, okay, that's how I figured out it was cubicle. Like they were just paying for office space. And so Troy is like, what do you mean? And then Zeruiah lays it on to him again that like they really don't have any money to pay the rent either. She was like, I paid up and all the way up until next month, and after that we kind of like we got to find some way to get some money. So Troy sits up and he's like, are you serious? Are you serious? So then they kind of get into it in the confessional where Zeruiah is just like, I didn't know that this was going to happen. This is how nonprofits work. Like you apply for grants, you know, you have to wait a certain amount of days for them to approve it. And once you get the grant, that's how you pay yourself. So Troy is pissed because he already feels like they're still kind of in a weird space because we found out during Love After Lockup that Zeruiah cheated on him. And so he was like, I forgave her, but like, don't lie to me. Like, tell me what's going on. Like you knew about this back in like May and June. Why aren't you telling me this now? So he's pissed and he's just like, you know, this is crazy. This is stupid. Like, why would we do this if we can't guarantee no money about to come in? And so Zeruiah's like, well, you know, it just takes time. And he was like, with the doctors, he was like, so you gonna tell your doctors and your counselor that they not getting paid? Like, nah, I bet. Like, see how they like that. So then he's like, you know what? I'm about to go. Like, I got to go. And Zeruiah's like, Troy, like, where you going? And like, she holds onto the door and Troy's like, Zeruiah, move. Figure out what you gonna figure out. Like, I got to go, because he asked her while they were laying in bed, like, so what are we doing? And she's like, I don't know. That's why I'm bringing this to you so we can figure out a plan. And Troy is like, so you don't know what to do? And she's like, no. So then Troy's like, you know what? I'm about to leave. So I don't know how far he gonna walk this time, but he puts on his sneakers and he goes walking outside. He was like, I'm about to figure, he was like, this makes me want to run back to the streets, like, and make sure like I have constant money coming in, because this doesn't make any sense how we're doing this and it's not a guarantee that we're gonna get funding or have money. So we see Troy actually like walk outside and we get another scene of somebody on the porch yelling for Troy, like, Troy. Zeruiah's like, Troy, where are you going? Where are you going? He's not responding. She's on the porch being like, this is why it's hard to tell these dudes the truth, because when you tell them the truth, this is the response you get. I'm like, no, girl, you could have told him back in May that y'all was struggling. Now y'all are 2 weeks behind on rent. This was supposed to be like the way he reacclimates back into society by having this job as being a part of this nonprofit. And now you're also laying it onto him that the rent ain't all the way paid. What did you expect? But then part of me feels like this was kind of fake, because I don't think Troy would readily be like, because we see him call his friend while he's walking down the street. He got an ankle monitor on, because I'm like, where you going? Because I was like, don't they tell you can't go but so far? He's like calling his friend being like, hey, come get me. Like, we need to talk about like getting some money. So we see a car pull up and Troy like gets in the car. We don't know who he called. We don't know. It could be a friend or it could be like a family member. All I know is I like, part of me doesn't know if this is truly real or they putting it on for the cameras. But I could see Zeruiah lying to Troy because she's done it before. But it was a mess, because Zeruiah was like, he looked like he about to go rob somebody. He walking down the street with an ankle monitor on, dressed in all black with a pink do-rag. What does he expect? I said, shenanigans. Next, let's talk about Justine and Michael. Now, I don't remember too much about them other than I knew Michael wanted to be a rapper, or he was a rapper before he went to jail. And Justine wanted to live her best like rap girlfriend, drug dealer fantasy, because Michael went to jail for like drug manufacturing and possession. But they seem to be doing fine. I also remember that Michael's mom did not like Justine. But I got where the mom was coming from, because it was more so she was mad that it seemed like Michael was not putting the needs of his actual children that his mother had been taking care of before Justine's children and her needs. And I think Justine's mom didn't like Michael either, because Justine was doing the same by putting like Michael's needs before her kids' needs. Because I remember them saying that they wanted to move to Las Vegas, and a lot of the kids were like, because I think that's where Michael's kids were originally, maybe in Las Vegas. But it was just It was a lot with them. It was a lot with them. But I do remember she was pregnant. I think I saw that online on OMFG reality TV, like way back, that she had gotten pregnant. But we actually see the baby. Cute little girl. Her name's Manhattan. She's 6 months old. So I'm thinking like they're sitting in a doctor's office that they're like at a checkup for the little girl. No, Justine is pregnant again. And it looks like she's either 5 or 6 months pregnant because they're doing a full on ultrasound and they find out the sex of the baby and it's a boy. I said, no, ma'am. I was like, you just had a baby. Now you're about to have another one. And they're in the confessional. I will say out of everybody's confessional, Michael and Justine seem to have like the best chemistry. Like you could tell that they really care about each other. But he was like, oh, you did this on purpose. And Justine was like, no, I didn't. And Michael was like, girl, you have an ovulation app. And I believe Michael. I really believe that Justine did this on purpose. So they've moved to Las Vegas. They have a nice size house. It's big enough for all the kids. They have 8 kids. No, I guess. And now the baby that she's about to have is 9. I think the oldest child is Justine's daughter, who is 19 years old, but everybody else is under the age of 19. I said, girl, what is wrong with y'all? In this economy, you having 9 kids? But I guess it seems like all the kids get along with each other. They bought that house in Las Vegas and it's big enough for everybody. The only issue is it costs a lot. Like they don't really have, like they are like scratching and surviving like they on good times because that house is a lot, but it's the size that they need for their children. So I'm just looking at her like, girl. So after the ultrasound, we see the OBGYN come in. I think the doctor's name is like Dr. Heather. So Dr. Heather is like, everything looks good, but we need to be careful because this is actually a geriatric pregnancy. You are 36 years old, and normally we don't want people to get pregnant right after having another baby. We normally suggest that you like wait a year and then try again to conceive. She also was like, I normally like to tell my girls to, get like, permanently sterile after 3 kids. You know what I mean? And she is asking Justine, like, we could get your tubes tied. Like he could get a vasectomy. And Michael's holding their daughter being like, yeah, we don't need no more kids. So Justine is like, well, you can get a vasectomy. And Michael's like, well, I don't want, to stop working. Men automatically think that if they get a vasectomy, they did gonna go limp. And that's not what it is. You just don't like the fact of you not being able to produce kids because you think like it takes something away from your manhood. Just like some women don't want to get rid of get like a hysterectomy or get a ovarianectomy because they think that takes away from them being women or their womanhood. But honestly, girl, if I'm about to die, take everything out. Because I want to be here, So the doctor was like, well, do you have a will? Because like C-sections, especially at this age, can really put you at risk. You could go into a coma. Like in that will, like you need to, it's basically the parameters. Like if you need to be put in a coma and need to be put on life support, would you want that to happen? Y'all need to talk about it. Now, if you don't do that, we would just have to take his word. And Justine makes a face where she was like, no, like, I don't think he would do what I want, because her whole thing is like, I don't want to be on life support. I don't want to be on a feeding tube. Like, save the baby. I'm good if like I'm not here anymore. And Michael is like, I don't even know if I could survive without you. What you mean? So he's getting emotional because they both were living in like la la land that like everything was okay. But I'm just like, you immediately got pregnant after your 6th child, knowing for a fact that y'all don't have enough money, on top of the fact that you're 36. And I'm not saying 36 is old, because to me, 36 isn't old, but I'm just saying like, you're at risk. Like you didn't think to like Google or research any of that. So they're both kind of outside of the doctor's office, like sitting down, and you can tell like it's a very somber mood. Michael's holding the daughter, trying not to cry, as Justine is just basically telling him like, you need to pick the child over me. She was like, I would want my son to be here beyond me. So then she's crying in her confessional being like, isn't that what parents are supposed to do? Not me if I become a parent. I've already told the person, like I've told plenty of people, and I will make that known to whoever I decide to have kids with. If it's me or that baby, pick me. We can have another kid. There's no mother me. There's no other Leah. No. And like people are like, oh, it'll change when you get pregnant. No, it won't. No, it won't. Like me and my sister have had talks about this. She said, yeah, like pick me, choose me, love me. We can work on having another kid. And I also have this a theory in my head that like um babies like that you miscarry or that are stillborns, I always think that's like their souls go back up to heaven, and then when you have another baby, that soul is that baby. It's just it wasn't their time to come during that time. So with that thought in mind, we'll have another baby, and that be the baby we need to have. Okay, it'll be the same one, but pick me. And Michael is just like, he don't know. I said, well, she letting you know. And I mean, like, you got to respect her wishes. If she does not want to be on life support, she does not want to have a feeding tube, then you need to respect that. So if she says, I'm going to put it in a wheel, then she got to do what she got to do. And whether or not Michael likes it. About Britney and Kerok. So Kerok is 26 years old and an HVAC technician, and Kerok went to jail for robbery. Britney is 23 years old and is unemployed, and she went to jail for armed robbery. And you can see the difference in maturity with Britney at 23 versus Bianca at 23. But it's been 7 months since they've been out of prison. I don't remember too much about Kerok and Britney, other than I did not like Kerok's like weird friend that like it felt like that person was stalking Britney and basically telling on Britney for everything she did to like wherever she went. Like I didn't like that. I ain't like that, which made me kind of not like Kerok, because I'm like, why does your friend feel so comfortable to stalk your girlfriend? But the way that Kerok and Britney met is like they both were in the same prison at the time. Kerok was transitioning, and Britney and like they met, their eyes met, and they fell in love. So Britney, I think, got out of prison before Kerok and still stayed in contact with each other. And then when Kerok got out, he actually proposed to Britney after they went skydiving. And now they are living in Virginia, Richmond, Virginia, and trying to move to Houston, Texas. So when we see them, they're actually at their Richmond home and they're packing up. Honestly, the way they packed that U-Haul was atrocious. Like if my dad would have saw that, he would have had a fit, because we call him the master packer. Like the way he can pack a car or a truck should be admired. I don't know how he do it. I don't. But I don't. So we see them get into the car, and they're both just really excited for like this new journey of life. As they're in the car, Britney starts kind of crying, talking about, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is about to happen. This is why I love you. I'm so excited. And so they're going to like, I guess like a car detail place to like get their car clean, get their car inspected, and get like an oil change, probably the tires rotated, because they're going to drive that car all the way to Texas. So while they're at the auto inspection place, you have Kerok getting a phone call from his parole officer or somebody, and they're basically telling Kerok that him and Britney were not approved to move to Texas, that the state of Virginia approved them to move, but him and Britney were not approved by Texas. And I said, pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. You mean to tell me y'all signed? Because Kerok starts to get pissed and be like, we signed a lease. Like, we have to be out of our place in a matter of like several days. And I'm like, wait. So you signed a lease and paid a down payment and everything in Texas before you ever really figured out if y'all were going to, like, if it was okay for y'all to move to Texas. But I guess they were banking on the fact that the state of Virginia said that they could go, but you also have to get approval from the state of Texas to allow you to come. And I guess it's because both Kerok and Britney are still on parole. And Britney was saying, I guess to them, it's kind of looking like, why are these two people, both felons, trying to move to Texas? And I'm also like, girl, y'all trying to move to Texas. Like, Houston may be like culturally diverse, but Texas as a state, that's like when people try to conflate like Georgia, like Atlanta and Georgia being together. Georgia is still Georgia. Atlanta is Atlanta, but the out surrounding cities and towns it's a lot of sundown towns in Georgia. So I'm just kind of like, what did y'all like? Why wouldn't y'all wait till y'all got approval that Texas was going to let y'all stay? So Kerok is like going off. Like, are you serious, man? Like, we Like, my family's about to move. We're about to move. And the person on the phone was like, well, why would y'all move if y'all didn't get approval? And Kerok is like, well, I didn't think we wouldn't get approval when we already got approval from Virginia. And so Brittany comes out and like, Kerok, what's going on? And, he mad, so he don't really want to talk to her. So Brittany tries to take the phone, and Kerok kind of pulls away, but puts it on speaker. And so then eventually Kerok just gets fed up with it and just gives the phone to Brittany. And Brittany gets on the phone, and she's like, hi, sir. And basically, Brittany's like, so what you're saying is, we didn't get denied approval. We're still waiting on approval, and it takes 30 days. And the guy was like, yeah. And so she's like, what can we do? Because we're about to be homeless, because we thought we were going to get approval because the state of Virginia said we were approved. And so the person was like, well, we have government sanctioned hotels or motels. No, he said motel because it wasn't a hotel. Motels that y'all can stay in for the time being until you get approval. So Brittany thanks the guy, and Kerok has an attitude because he's just like, I've lived in Richmond, Virginia, like all my life. I know what government like stuff looks like. And Brittany had a good point. I get it. It might not be what we want, but if it's livable, then that's where we're going to go. So we don't have to keep shelling out money, because this is a lot. Like, we got a lot. We have to be prepared for that. But I was just like, y'all made such a stupid decision. Like, why would you tell your family it's okay for for all of us to move, and you knew for a fact that you didn't have approval from the state that you're going to? Like, I would not make anything shake until I found out that like I can move to Texas and Texas approved it. Just because you got approval from Virginia does not mean that was going to happen. Yeah, no. Let's talk about the couple that I bet everybody wants to talk about, which is Tennie and Rob. Because honestly, they're the only reason why I decided to even watch this season of Life After Lockup, because I wanted to know why Tennie was trying to get at that mama, as well as what's the aftermath of that gonna be, okay? So Tennie's 34, a stay-at-home mom. Rob was in jail for 18 years for, I think, armed robbery, and he is a tarp and supply man. I don't remember how long they said that he had been out of prison, but it's been a while, because they were able to go to Florida and Miami. Like, he got on a jet ski for the first time. He got into the ocean, which he hasn't been in 18 years, and it seems like they've kind of meshed together. We actually see the kids do a confessional where the little boy is like, it feels like the piece of us that was missing is now complete. And the daughter was like, nothing really changed, because it feels like he's always been here. Rob and Tennie have been married for like 4 years, and they got married while he was in prison. I don't know. The camera thing really turned me off from Rob, because I was like, why do you have cameras everywhere in the house except like the bedrooms and the bathrooms? Like, it just was weird. And then when we get reintroduced to them, he's putting them cameras into their new house again, and it just feels like he just wants to watch whatever Tennie is doing, because he doesn't ultimately like trust her, and he's like controlling, because he's putting them up. And in the confessional, she's like, at first the cameras were like for security and to make sure everybody was safe. But now it's just like for regular security. And he jokingly says, and so I can figure out what y'all are always doing. And I was like, yeah, that's creepy, and I don't like it. But they move into this new place. Rob finally showed Tennie the tattoo of his ex on his arm. He has like a portrait. Tennie never knew about the tattoo, and she was just kind of like, I like the tattoo? No, but I'm going to have to like be okay with it, because I can't say I've never loved anybody other than him, and he really loved her, but I do throw it in his face when we get into arguments. So I'm like, at least okay? So they're deciding to do like a party for him, like a welcome home party, and they invited like all the people that were like in his life while he was locked up. So they get to this cute little rooftop area. Rob is talking about how kind of like he has anxiety because during the pandemic, they put everybody in their cells and they weren't allowed to leave. He was like, normally before the pandemic, like people's cell doors were just open and you could freely go in and out. Now they just like had us locked up for basically all day. And then even when they got rid of the restrictions, we could still have visitation, but we weren't allowed to touch anybody. So I just kind of am uncomfortable sometimes going out and about. So they get to this rooftop. It's a nice setup. They're like waiting for everybody to come. Everyone was supposed to be there at 1:30, but nobody showed up. It was about like 2:10 when they figured out. And I said, well, maybe people on CP time, you know. But then we see Tennie call Rob's sister. She said that she taking her daughter to gymnastics and doing something else. So she didn't even think to go. Like, she was just like, she wasn't down to go. So then they're just kind of like, well, hopefully somebody show up. We then see Tennie's close friend come. And we also see Tennie's mom, Charlene, come. Her friend's titties are humongous. That's all I looked at. And I was like, I'm no better than a man, because I was staring hard at them. I was like, wow. So Charlene is like, you know, happy to see Rob and all this stuff. And then her and Tennie go to the bar to get drinks. And so Charlene is like, where's his family? Like, the only reason why I came is so I could meet the mom and the dad. And Tennie's like, I don't know if they coming. So then Tennie lets us know, out of the many times that she would go meet Rob and, you know, bring her kids to go meet him on the weekends, his family only came with her one time. So he doesn't really, like, the relationship with them is kind of like strained at this point. So they're eating cake and like taking pictures. And next thing you know, Kate, which is Rob's mom, pull up. And everyone's like, oh, okay. So I'm thinking like, okay, is this really where y'all about to fight? Because Katie came in there. She gave Tennie a big hug, said she loved her, and it was okay. So then they're sitting down. Like the Tennie's best friend or one of her friends comes and tells her, like, oh, come on, y'all, let's kids get up so, like, y'all can have a talk. So she takes the kids to another table to, like, I guess get food and drinks and stuff like that. And it's Kate, Rob's mom, Charlene, Tennie's mom, and then Tennie and Rob are sitting next to each other. And the mom just gets straight to it, where she's just like, I don't like how you moving. Like, you left us to go take care of this other family when I'm going to always be here, like when Tennie is not here. And so Tennie was like, well, why wouldn't I be here? So then Rob is trying to explain to his mom that, like, there was some points where I needed you. It's been 18 years and, like, you haven't really been there. And, like, I'm a grown man now and I have other responsibilities. I just can't take care of you all the time. I have a family now. So Tennie gets irritated after the mom mentions her name, where she's like, why wouldn't I be here? So she's like, you know what, I'm going to get up and go get me something to drink. And the mom's like, fine, go, bye. And so Tennie's like, what is your problem? So then the mom is like, my problem is, she stands up, and I think Rob got in between them. And so I think Tennie pushed her finger this way, or tried to mush the mom. Or yeah, I think Tennie tried to mush the mom. The mom tried to mush Tennie back. And like, Rob's trying to get in between them, being like, Tennie, stop. Mama, no, stop. Like, I was like, the kids are like, what, like, just like, they like, what the hell going on? You then see Tennie push Rob, go around the table. The mom, Tennie mama Charlene, get up trying to, like, stop it. And so Tennie's like, boo, Rob. And she when I tell you, she trying to get at his mama, to the point where I think someone slipped. I think Rob fell on the ground and Tennie was still like trying to like punch down. And I said, yo, she was really trying to tag his mama. She was really trying to get at his mom. And I was just like, Lord. No. I just want to know how they move forward from this. Like, I genuinely, like, because I'm just like, yo, like, when I tell you Tennie was really trying to get at his mom, to the point where Rob slipped on the floor and she was really, like, about to, like, I don't know, stomp or punch down. And I'm just like, yo. And to be honest, like, I feel like both ladies are wrong. I do. Like, Tennie, girl, at the end of the day, that is your husband's mom. Like, you shouldn't be trying to fight the lady unless the lady actually meant you harm or had a weapon or was trying to harm you. But I understand you being tired of her, because we saw the way his mom was nasty towards her before. But to get this angry, where you was like, I'm tired of like trying to like pop the lady and mush her into the face, and now you trying to square up on her in front of your kids, because the little girl was like, and they got up, like, it was too much going on. But then I'm just like, I also understand at some point somebody like reaches their breaking point. And it's just kind of like, I'm looking at Rob's mom is like, why do you believe your son is obligated to take care of you? Like, why? Like, you're grown. He was incarcerated for 18 years. You couldn't figure something out? Girl, but I'm looking forward to the next episode because I really want to know, how do they move forward from this? Like, is Rob gonna be cut off from his entire family? Is Tennie gonna apologize? Is the mom and her gonna have a come to Jesus moment? I just need to know. I need to know.